the conversation. Yeah. So yeah, if you have some idea about, it sounded like uh, reviewing the notes from the previous meeting. Is that what you were suggesting?
Yeah, yeah. So if we start with the Mangalacharan phrase, and then I had a quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then we can crack on. Is that okay?
Fantastic. Yeah, great. Uh, and also just to
Om
acknowledge
Agya-
that because it's the free version, it will last for, I think it's about 40 minutes, so it's less than an hour.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's okay, Prabhu. Yeah, okay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, so thank you to Sachikumar Nimai Prabhu for organizing this Sangha meeting. So I had one quote from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, seeing that it's Gaur Purnima on Tuesday. So I'll just read that. It's from the Adi Leela, chapter 14, text 51, and it's the purport by Srila Prabhupada. One should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead who appears in this age of Kali with his associates as the Panchatattva, the Lord himself and his associates Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Advaita Prabhu, Sri Gadadhar Prabhu, and Srivas Thakur. In this age, an intelligent person worships the Panchatattva by the method of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and, if possible, distributing prasadam. Our Krishna consciousness movement is introducing this bona fide method of worship in the Western world. Its members are going from village to village and town to town with deities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, teaching people how to worship the Lord by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, offering prasadam, and distributing prasadam to people in general. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So I thought that
Very
was a
powerful.
nice quote.
Very powerful. Yeah.
Any reflections on the quote, Prabhu?
Yeah. Just want to welcome Jay. Jay. Who's that? Shanil and Minesh.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Welcome. Um, yeah. I mean, I'd probably need to hear the quote again to get the full gist of it. But I got something about traveling, chanting, and distributing prasadam. Um, and yeah, I have it like these weapons, books, chanting, and prasadam, the three pronged three weapons for spreading Krishna consciousness. Um, yeah, interesting thing that comes up in that space for me. The other day, Rishi Roy Goranga treated me to lunch at Govinda's, and it was extraordinary. He said, "Okay, Prabhu, but we're really happy with your driving, and we want you to have prasadam, and you can have anything in the whole of Govinda's, any lasagna, any pizza, any pakoras, whatever you want, you can have whatever you want. You can have as much as you want." And so we sat. So that, I mean, that was part of it. As if that wasn't enough, and then I got to have Rishi Roy Gauranga's association as well. But he said we were discussing, and I said he said how's it going? And I said the service is great. I really love the service. Driving the van, being kind of having that regulation. I said the one thing that's maybe a little challenging, but it doesn't really occur for me as part of the service, is I'm not sure if I have the experience of fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's vision. We all know the story of Prabhupada, when he said that nobody should go hungry within 10 miles of the temple. So then we started discussing a little bit about that, and then how there are other groups that come to the Food for Life, and we have ours, we have our thing that we come, and some people like the chili flakes because they think it's maybe a little bit bland, the prasadam or something like that. And then, about how we transitioned over from cooking our own prasadam in Govindas to having prasadam um, cooked by Food for All and Parashuram and his team. But one thing he did say that I can remember from that conversation is that one thing that it sounded as though he was saying that people will go somewhere else. They'll go to the Swami Narayan, or they'll go to the SWA, or they'll go to the Christian group. If they think they're getting better, they'll just go there because they're offering pizza. And if we're not, if the quality of what we're offering is not very attractive, they don't they're what's that call it? They call it like brand loyalty. They don't have any brand loyalty. They
No.
won't be loyal customers, so to speak. So that's the other thing I just wanted to share that because I thought that was really powerful. It never occurred to me that one of the places we could look for expanding our prasadam distribution is the quality of what we're actually offering. I just thought, you know what, it's prasadam, give thanks and praise, so that's a new kind of dimension for me to look at. And I guess in the quote that you just shared there, the chanting, and the prasadam, that's also, maybe it's also just automatically Prabhupada would expect that we offer first class prasadam. It's not that we just, bang something together and we say, it's prasadam when we're distributing prasadam, but everything is first class. So that's just some reflection on that.
No, thank you, Prabhu. That's very powerful. And I know Parshuram Prabhu has been trying to improve things in terms of uh, putting in like more paneer into the sabji and having olives in the pasta, etc. But like how Vaisheshika Prabhu always says, you can always offer better service, so we can always improve. Um, Did any of the other people that joined wanted to say something before we get into the crux of the Sangha?
Or maybe we can raise a point. Sorry, I was a few minutes late, so I missed the beginning. But
Very well,
just
Simon.
the tidiness of the van, really, you know, I mean, maybe we can incorporate that in the meeting. Maybe, we can have some sort of system in place where, because I've been part of the service. This summer will be 4 years, and I've noticed, a lot of the times, it's quite chaotic inside the van with the organization. So
Mm,
maybe something along those lines. I mean, in terms of the prasadam and whatnot, that's fine. But it's just, the organization, the tidiness of the van, was something I wanted to raise, really.
hmm. Thank you. And thanks for joining.
Yeah, you're welcome. Happy to be here.
Anyone else? No? Okay. So I mean, look, Sangha that really huge effort on the part of all the volunteers to come and to distribute prasadam to needy and homeless people in central London, and it's a really nice act of compassion. And we go out 6 days a week distributing about 550, 600 plates a week. And I think the vision and goal is very clear. It's just about how we get to it now. Of Srila Prabhupada's vision of no one in a 10-mile radius of an ISKCON center, which in our case would be ISKCON London, going hungry. And it was nice to see that the lights are working now in the back. That was really, really nice. And so thank you to Sachikumar Nimai Prabhu and Rishi Rai Gauranga for organizing that. So in terms of I wanted to just go through what we discussed in the last meeting, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to send that out on the group and see if people would like to put their name forward in terms of these areas that they feel inspired to volunteer and contribute for. Bearing in mind that there's now 500 plus people on the Rota group.
Mm.
So one of the areas that we had was possibly expanding the service to Sunday. So I know initially when I started, it was 5 days a week. We then increased to Saturday. Now, if we can do Sunday, the action is really on me to speak to Parshuram Prabhu to see if he can provide prasadam on Sunday. And also, one idea was floated last time was possibly leftovers from the Sunday program. So we have, I'll contact Ratnabhushan Prabhu, who runs the Sunday program, and see if he would be willing to, if that's a possibility, whether there's actually leftover prasadam or not, and whether that could work. Another point was we're going to get Danny Prabhu on a future call because he's running the social media, and it'll be nice to see if there are people that want to volunteer their time in terms of social media like Instagram, Facebook, etc., to increase our profile, get more volunteers, etc. And then we had the one that Shamil just mentioned, van care and inventory. So just keeping a stock of the items that we have in the van. Like sometimes, I mean, as an example, you could have like a box of spoons, but if volunteers are not aware it's there, they'll go and get more, and it just adds and adds, and then it could be waste as well, which is not good. Keeping the van tidy. I know Robin Prabhu on Thursdays actually he cleans the whole
Yeah.
van out completely, which is really nice. Someone wanted to come in there?
No, I was just agreeing with you, nodding my head in agreement.
Okay, okay. We had fundraising, we have branding. One idea that's come up and it hasn't really come to fruition is some of the other organizations that come, they have like high vises and their branding is very clear. Whereas for us, it's like, especially when we stand on Charing Cross, it's like it's almost when if someone was walking by us, it looked like we're part of SWAT rather than, being part of Food for Life. So some devotees did express, maybe looking into getting high vises. So I need to
Yeah.
follow up with them.
I remember we had the
Uh,
hoodies at one point, but
yeah.
I think the high vis is much better. You know, it looks a bit more organized and professional as well.
Mm,
You know,
definitely. We used to have regular sanghas as well, so that if anyone would feel inspired to do that. One concern was the amount of prasad that's left over. I
mm,
think recently, from my experience, that's actually, gone down in the sense that last few weeks I haven't seen any leftover on Wednesday and Thursday. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, if there are others on the call that have seen it. Sachikumar, you probably would know.
Yeah, no, I think that's a valuable thing because there definitely are some days like I think it's a Friday when we don't go to Charing Cross, and that was definitely the case this week. We had a big thing, and Sai was with us, and like Sai, he's like, I don't want to waste anything, everything has to go. So and this was the second time we've done it. He said, "Oh no, let's go to Good Street. There are these homeless people who camp out outside the shop there. I think it's called Heels or something like that. And then also there are some migrants at the top end near Warren Street in the tents. I don't know if you've seen those people there. So we went there and we just about finished distributing the prasadam. I think there was one takeaway box. Um,
Amazing.
but on the Monday, I think there was a lot left over. So there are some days when we do experience a lot left over. Yeah.
Okay.
But I just wanted to just with the point about the branding, the visibility. That was one thing. I had a former boss of mine came one night with his wife to assist on Food for Life, and I thought that was great. But that was the one thing that he mentioned. He said we're not visible enough. He was anticipating like free Hare Krishna food like that. So be anybody walking past, they can get a sense of what's going on. That was his kind of take on it.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
it's a point. Yeah, go on, Shiva. Yeah.
especially 'cause, I only, with work and whatnot, I can only really do Thursday. Um, so with the leftover Thursday, in my experience, because I have been Lincolnsfield many times over the years, but that's always quieter than Charing
Mm,
Cross. So I think maybe those days, I mean, it's hard to anticipate how many people you're going to get. So, and you don't want to be short, but then again, you don't want a lot of wastage or food left over, should I say.
mm,
So it's a really tricky situation. So yeah, it's a tough one. But on Thursdays, when we serve from the van, obviously that's visible and people have, more awareness. But when we set up the tables and we're sort of, 15 feet away from the van, then I think, yeah, maybe we can create some awareness of who we are and what we
mm,
do,
yeah.
you know?
And like Parshuram Prabhu's take on the leftovers has always been, that don't worry, just leave it in the back and then they'll take you for composting. But in my heart, I don't like doing that because I have been in the van before when it's been leftover and then, it does go bad, like, and
Yeah.
it's just,
Dude,
it
it
doesn't,
breaks my heart when I waste food at home. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And that food, there's sometimes like over the years, I've seen whole containers, but you never know because like the couple of days ago on Thursday, we didn't have anything left. Do you
Yeah, and
know?
we had people
Everything.
coming up. Yeah, the
Yeah.
people coming up saying that, have you got anything left? I'm hungry. And that
Yeah.
is pretty heartbreaking
And
as
then
well.
other days we've got containers and we're like, what do we do with it? So it's like, it's a really, really tough situation. I mean, the only way I can really see a way around it is either the composting, so it doesn't actually go like down in the bin or down the drain, or you limit we have a set number of plates. We make them aware we've got 80 plates or whatever, and we do it like that. But I don't know. I don't know.
No, it's a tough one. Um, the other thing, so one thing that, Rupanuga Prabhu, he does Harinams regularly. And obviously on Harinam, you encounter people sitting on the street, saying,
Mhm.
I'm really hungry. Um, so his one idea was to do leaflets, have like basic leaflets that show the timings that we're distributing prasad, and everyone's welcome to come. And that kind of links in with the goal of no one in a 10-mile radius going hungry as well. So there's one devotee, Vinil, who's expressed the interest to actually design the leaflet. And then once it's designed, I think it'll be easy to get it printed in the same format as those Hare Krishna leaflets that say chant Hare Krishna, and then it's got this Soho temple address. So
Mm.
that's one thing I will do. I will touch base with Vinil. And then we had the last one. The last thing was that Sachikumar Nimai Prabhu suggested that we do a presentation at the next volunteer Sangha on Food for Life and what Food for Life does. So I think that would be good. Um, yeah, so those were the things that I had actually. If anyone else wanted to comment.
There was another thing that just is just there for me. One is about because you mentioned their awareness, and I assert that maybe there are partnerships that we could foster that would have people uh, aware of the services, and that might include um, council services, for instance, if people are like on income support or if they're going to an existing food bank. And they're made aware that the Hare Krishna, if you don't have food, that the Hare Krishna distributes food at this place at this time on these days. So maybe there are other places that we could get the
Hmm.
word out to raise the awareness and kind of direct people. I mean, because yeah, maybe like on the street level, people get to know about it happens at Charing Cross, it happens in Lincoln's Inn Field, but maybe there are other ways of kind of getting the word out there. And then the other thing you mentioned there about making the presentation at the volunteers dinner. I thought you were going to say Sachi Kumar Nimai suggested about writing a book because that was that was a bit, because I'm still shocked. I'm still like impacted when somebody asked you the other day, Prabhu, how long have you been doing Food for Life? And you said, well, I think now it's been about 20 years. And I'm thinking 20 years is a long time. There's a lot of experience. There's excuse the pun, a lot of water gone under the bridge, in 20 years, and it's strange because I was at the book warehouse yesterday with Tatikshu, um,
Mm.
and we were loading the books into the van, and he said, that I suggest that we only load so many books, 3 pallets of books. And then he shared with me that he had actually been stopped by the police and they gave him a £400 fine for being overweight. And then they also charged the company that you're driving for £400. So that's a lot of fine. But I said, I don't remember reading that in any the nectar of book distribution. We've seen the instructions. So that's like a hands-on practical experience of something that devotees kind of on the ground experience in the book distribution conversation that has not been captured in any book. So I'm going to assert that there are many, maybe things like we're discussing today about the tidiness of the van, about reaching out to people, about awareness, about wasting prasadam, that there are lots of things, even about how inspired the volunteers are, how regulated are. Maybe the challenge that we have 500 people on the WhatsApp group, and only of those, only a small number are actually, um, you know, assisting and volunteering, actually coming out to assist or are engaged in assisting if they're assisting online. So actively engaged in the thing, and maybe that's something that could also be included in the book. And I'm sure there are lots of other things, maybe the relationship between Food for Life, the mission, and the temple management, without getting too, political about it or whatever, but maybe there are other conversations to be had, the fundraising of it. And I'm going to say that there is definitely a book there. And that book, whilst we might take it for granted, our Food for Life prasadam distribution efforts in London, maybe some other temples around the world or in other countries, other parts of Europe, around the world, they would get something for themselves in reading our book about Food for Life and our looking to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's order in London. So yeah, I just wanted that to be on the agenda. That writing a book, I think, is is a good project to work on.
To be honest, Prabhu, I had it written down, but then I didn't transfer it to here because it's just quite daunting prospect. You know what I mean? And I was just trying to
AI, Chat GPT.
It is getting that easy nowadays. You have a topic and and do some rough writing, and it can do the editing and everything, and make it legible. Yeah, it is getting a lot easier. Yeah, good
But
call.
one person we should definitely involve is Parshuram Prabhu because his life you could write a book on, and a lot of his life is centered around prasadam distribution. So that would be amazing. Definitely would have to include him. Yeah, thank you. I'll put the book down as well.
Yeah,
In my
it's
notes.
reminding us that we have 10 minutes left of the free version call here.
Okay,
Maybe that's another
sweet.
topic that if we thought that that these regular monthly calls were valuable, maybe we could invest in a license, a Zoom license, so that we're not restricted to 40 minutes.
Zoom license. Okay, so I mean, look, a lot of these actions were carried through from the last meeting, and I think, like you mentioned, Prabhu, that there are so many people on the group, and it's great, obviously, the volunteers that come out and volunteer their time regularly, but there's also other ways to get involved, as we just mentioned. So it's about getting that list out there, getting people to contact myself, and see whether they'd like to be involved, and then we can take it from there. Yeah. And is there anything else, Shamil, Sajikumani, probably you wanted to mention?
One thing that I just had, and please forgive me if I talk too much. Sometimes I need to rein it in a little bit. But a topic came up, and I think it was ChatGPT. I was mentioning something, and it talked about food insecurity. And whilst we are about food for life, I think food insecurity is a huge topic, and it's not limited just to I don't have anything, I'm homeless and I don't have anything to eat today. It's talking about supply chains, and that really takes it all the way up to like our contribution to sustainable communities, and even growing our own food and stuff like that. I mean, that's a much bigger conversation around. So whether that's just something that we would include in the book, or if it's something that we are actively involved in or aware of or mindful of in our day-to-day kind of operations, but it's just something I would to include there.
It's interesting. So, I mean, the whole concept of food insecurity, is that like sorry, like Srila Prabhupada's vision of being Varnashram, growing your own? Okay.
I think it can fit into that, yes, because people get like, if their supply chains were to fall apart, there would be nothing like. I mean, we saw a little bit of it during the pandemic. It's like, okay, things get interrupted, and then there's chaos. And one of the things that people talk about for that is communities having their own growing their own food and having that supply chain of food stuff. Yeah.
No, it's very interesting because I was talking to someone the other day as well about the global situation and the amount of conflicts and wars that are going on, and obviously that creates a lot of uncertainty. And in those places, I'm pretty sure that the supply chains would be affected if missiles are raining down from the sky. So yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, so I think it's really now the action is on me to get this. I've got it penned down now, the list. I just need to, get it into I'll email it to myself and then put it into a WhatsApp and then we'll get that out there. I might actually send it to yourself, Sachikumani Mahaprabhu, and Shamil, just to have a quick look before it goes out. It's always
Yeah.
good to have a second pair of eyes, and you guys might spot something that I haven't. Um, but yeah, that was it really. Unless there's anything else.
It's great.
I've covered what my concerns, which was mainly, like I said, the organisation of the van, and once because me and you can't be there every day, so that those who are volunteering when we're not there can hopefully maintain the cleanliness and the hygiene and the arrangement of the back of the van, because some days are harder than others finding stock and leave people leaving things in there like fresh fruit that have gone off, and then it's not nice. But that was it from my side.
Funny you should mention that because last night, Parshuram Prabhu not dropped, he delivered like a whole load of boxes of bananas and plums, which is great. And we distributed quite a lot to the devotees after Harinam, and they were saying that this is very nice quality fruits actually. But then the balance that was left over has been put in the van, and I'm just thinking that come Monday, a lot of that might have gone, has gone
And
bad.
maybe somebody should check the quality of the fresh fruit being delivered before because we just say yes. In my experience, I'm not there every day, but I have been quite consistent on Thursdays. I'm there more than I haven't been. And it seems that we just accept it, despite the quality of it,
That's a
Yeah,
really
and I think that
valid point. There was some the other day, and on the label it said may contain traces of eggs. And the lady who showed it, it wasn't saying that it was eggs as like the ingredient. But one thing we discovered in that conversation is that we wouldn't offer that to Krishna. If there was
No,
even
exactly.
the remotest possibility that it may contain traces of eggs, we would not be offering that to Krishna. And we have to kind of look at that, what to do with that.
Yeah, somebody does need to do quality control check, I feel. I felt that for a long time, and now we've got these meetings to raise our voices. I think it is an area of concern, slight concern.
So I'm
Another
conscious
kind
that
of
there's
related,
no, go on, Prabhu, go on.
another related point just was that sometimes we found there's a lot of bread getting brought, and we're not always distributing all the bread. So which is fresh bread and which is bread that's been there for a couple of days, kind of rotating the stock like that. I think that could be another similar related kind of topic.
Do you remember we used to have Krishna Castle? So where does this
Yeah.
come from now? Because I just come straight from work a lot of the time, and it's already in the van. So is it coming from Euston? Are they loading it in, or are there other people dropping it to Euston?
Yeah, so when we first made this arrangement, I made the trip to Euston Food Bank, which is where all the prasadam is made, and then it's where all the prasad is delivered as well. And then they put it on a rickshaw and they bring it to the van every day.
Yeah, I've seen
So
them,
either
yeah.
Parshuram probably brings it or his volunteers bring it. But I think in terms of the quality of the prasad and the sense checking, it would make sense if that's done at source.
Yeah,
at,
exactly.
when it's delivered,
And we
that
can
you send.
always say no because a lot of the times in the warehouse they just want to get rid of it,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's piling
yeah,
up. So they'll just put it in the van and just expect us to deal with it. But I don't think that's
yeah,
fair.
because they're giving it for free. They're like, you
Yeah,
guys deal with it now. But yeah, you're
yeah,
right. It's not fair.
yeah. Because I remember at Christian
Um,
Castle, we didn't used to take everything. A few years ago, we used to be like, we used to check it there. Do you remember?
yes, yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That was an interesting place. I remember it would have piled up
yeah.
fruits and
That place was huge, man. That's why I
yeah,
learned to drive that van. Do you remember?
there was that one bit when it turns around. It's like, oh man.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
I just want to take a
Yeah.
moment, Achute, because I'm present that the clock is kind of counting down, just to acknowledge everybody for being on the call this morning. Yourself, Achute Tiran Prabhu, and bringing your leadership, and Shamil Minesh, thank you for being here and bringing your contribution. And yeah, I really acknowledge you for the difference, acknowledge us, everybody, for the difference that we're making in fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's order, and cooperating and collaborating is how we can distribute and provide food for life. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
And yeah,
Take care.
just as a note as well, that the plan was to have the last Sunday of each month. So we'll send out the schedule